Oh, what fun.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, go,
Okay.
Andy.
Oh, I was waiting to find out
We
if you
are
were live
live.
or not.
Mm-hmm.
Now, remember, you don't want to say it too soon because
Yeah.
then the beginning gets cut off.
Hey, happy
Gerald, what's the
days.
football scores?
Yes. Still 11-0.
All right.
That's actual football too, not
It's 11
soccer.
zip. Well, it's what you call football.
Right.
11 zip, as you people say.
Ah,
Go on.
this is Literary Roadhouse. One short story once a week. I'm Andy.
I'm Anise.
And I'm Gerald.
Oh, that's all three of us.
Yeah,
This week
I didn't
we
know
read Window Boy by
because
Thomas
Annie's
Ha.
didn't tell me what the order was, so I had to wait and see what happened
All
on the
right, this
second.
episode's gonna be chaotic. We
Yeah.
have been on one all morning.
Oh
Sorry.
boy.
Oh, are we
Yeah.
recording this? Oh, oops.
Yeah.
Well,
Go on, Andy. I
What
won't
Uh,
what
interrupt
are
you
we
anymore.
reading?
we read Window Boy by Thomas Ha. It's a delightful story about a little boy who breaks the rules to make a friend outside of his window after his parents fall asleep, either in bed like his mother or drunk in front of the TV like his father. And seems things might not be as they first appeared. There's some sort of apocalypse going on outside, and the little window boy is half feral and starved. And then we make friends with the window boy. There's a cool cyborg mailman. And eventually, the window boy tries to convince our hero to turn off the fence so that he can come over and be safe. But there's a bunch of window men behind him who are painted to fool the child protective bafflers on the window, which is actually probably like a closed circuit TV kind of situation. And the next day, when he's supposed to turn off the fence, instead, he just like watches TV with his dad. And the next morning, they find a bunch of bodies from the people who got fried on the fence. And the little boy decides, you know what, maybe I am going to go away to school after all, after Window Boy doesn't show up for several more nights. And he figures out, like, this is probably dead. And then that last night, he decides, I will turn off the child safety protection filters on this camera and seize the grackles.
Mm.
There's just a whole bunch of horrendous giant monsters. That's the end.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Gerald, what did you think of the story?
I liked it. I liked it. I like speculative fiction when it's got one foot, or it starts off with one foot in a world I recognise. So that was kind of good, and kind of good on focusing on the family relationship and the situation there. I quite like that, and then it started to expand out, and we saw the real situation. And the mailman's got a great truck too, with
Mm-hmm.
crab claw
Yeah,
thing,
it's got legs.
legs and whatnot. Well, who needs
Mm.
wheels, eh?
It's for scuttling.
Yep.
It's just scuttling, yes. Which is good, apparently.
I mean, the roads might not be drivable everywhere, so it's good
Yeah,
to be able to scuttle.
Right.
it's probably got dead stuff and broken things everywhere. So
Mhm.
yeah. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's quite sort of interesting. It's quite sort of got into my head a little bit, and thinking about this grackles. Yes, they're not nice, are they?
Mm.
They're trying to fool him.
I
So
liked
that's
it a lot. I liked the way it did the world building. Sort of, it started from here's a picture of suburbia, right? And like things are gonna be a little different. We knew that from starting, but like it sort of layers new things on clearly without belaboring an explanation, right? There's not
mm,
like an info dump really on anything. Just like here's the mailman. His cybernetic eyes did this. I'm like, okay, now I know something about the mailman just from the existence of his cybernetic eyes. Um, really neat. I love that staged world building thing. Uh, Also, I'm just very pleased that in this dystopian future, we've gone with LLCs rather than corporations as the business entity of choice. Like, too many things have mega corporations. Let's get some different, like maybe the next one we read will have a partnerships or
Yes.
right.
Mhm.
Bunch of 501Cs rule the world.
But there is like a hint that there's only a few companies left too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the companies. You can go
Right.
work. You can be a manager at one of the companies. Yeah.
And I like the fact
Schools
that,
are on the
that
oceans.
yeah, and I like the fact that later on when they're talking about the mailmen, and they said, "Oh, why don't the mailmen?" I can't remember. I can't find the exact bit, but there's a bit where it says, "Why don't the mailmen kill all the grackles?" And we haven't got enough mailmen. I thought, yeah, that's a real world problem.
Right. That's the truth.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with everything you guys said. The world building. I like the way that the author did that. And also, I think what I liked about it is it doesn't actually feel alien enough from our world, right? The whole 1 foot still in our world. And that is most sharply crystallized in Jakey's character
Mhm.
arc. Because by the end of it, he's just like, all right, well, guess I'm just going to be like my dad because that's the only safe option in this world. So I'm just going to do the thing that I think is wrong because it's the only way to survive. And that feels too real and too depressing. What despair.
Yeah.
We're like right like I think it's smart to have a child be the point of view character because he still has that like the morality that's that has no nuance that children tend to have. There's right and there's wrong, and this doesn't seem right at all. Why is the window boy stuck outside? Why can't he eat, right? And then all of a sudden it's like all the things my parents said. Oh, I see what's going to happen. Oh, I helped the window boy. These men are going to come in. You know what? Everyone's right. Let me just go to Pacifica, just accept my fate. And
Right. I'll just go to boarding school, get a job with an LLC, and live in the suburbs.
that's it. That's the only path for me. Got it.
Got it.
And that's a lot of
Otherwise, this giant bird with a meaty arm is going to get me.
yeah, pretty much. And that's a pretty good metaphor for a lot of the choices that people feel like they have to make in current society as well. So that's the very depressing, right? Like that is the thing. Like, yeah, all that ideology or morality and stuff when you're young gets beaten out of you.
Yeah.
By a despairing reality. Cool.
And so what do we think about the idea that they're actually all buried underground and they're being fed like almost suspended animation kind of thing, and everything's just fake?
I think it's interesting. I also like that they don't explain why you need that illusion. Maybe it's just that the air and stuff is so bad. Like it's just safer to be down there, temperature, all that kind of stuff.
Right. I can think of a lot of great reasons for being underground.
Yeah.
I can think of
Climate
fewer great reasons to have a facsimile shell of your suburban house up on top that the mailman comes to, but it's incredible.
Right. Yeah. Maybe it's just that slow erosion of how do you even get to a place where people where the haves are underground and the have-nots are not. I think you slowly over time have to justify, build, hide, create some kind of right, and then that just stays. Which I think you could also see in our own societies as we make these compromised decisions. You still have to keep some veneer of certain things in order to make it work. So it could just be like a leftover from that. It doesn't go away because that's too much of a shock and too weird. It has to stay
it's
there.
like, right, they have to live in the city because the dad could go into the office.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, they never do.
No.
Overland travel would be an insane thing to even attempt. But the illusion that, like, well, if they need me, I could go in.
Yeah. And then there's that comment about how, like, both the parents are engaging in escapism. So the mom's not just going to bed; she's taking drugs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the dad's drinking and watching cartoons, and now he's like, "All right, guess I'm gonna do this too. Just escape this reality and survive. Like that's it. That's it.
Cartoons seem cool though.
Yeah.
I like how the cartoon was exactly what he just saw outside the window.
Yes.
The mailman presumably shooting at grackles.
Right.
Yeah. The mailman winks to the camera. It's just...
And it gives you a sense of how far in the future this is, where the dad's like, I love this watching this cartoon growing up. And it's not Looney Tunes. It's
No.
this kid's reality outside the window.
Right.
Love this cartoon.
Crazy. Yes.
I had to like double check for a second when the mailman started swearing and it was edited out. I was like, what are we doing here? What is this? Why are we does the journal have rules against saying bad words? I was like, oh, we were doing a clever bit of world building. Okay.
The child filters on the window.
Yes. That's very good.
And that part makes sense. Like why the people inside might want windows to the outside world, because you would probably go nuts if you did
Yes.
have something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was hold on. I just realized something. The mailman was very concerned that the window was on. I thought it was because at that time I didn't realize they lived underground. I thought it was because you don't want people seeing into your house.
Right. Well, like the window being on was already like, what do you mean? Why is this window got a switch? Why does this window have settings? But okay.
Yeah. Okay. But actually, I don't think the mailman is concerned about people being able to see into the house, because you can't see into the house. It's whatever the window thing is. It's more about this kid not looking at what happens at night. But there's filters anyway.
Well, it's like the kid being awake at night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn your window off. Go to bed. Yeah.
All right. What are you doing, Jakey?
Yeah. Also, the mailman does not have it good. Being a mailman is not a good position.
No.
It feels a little too real. Well, I kind of. Yeah.
Well,
he's got a gun.
It's like that middle, slightly better than the window boys of the world, but not living underground.
Right. He doesn't live in a nice underground fallout shelter in the suburbs, but he is a cool cyborg.
He is a cool cyborg.
He does have to fight Crackles.
But yeah, but he can't eat ham and cheese sandwiches.
Yeah, that's a downside.
Yeah, he's not really human. He was human at some point, but at this point, it's like, are they even allowed to eat? Like, whatever's his system sounds also terrible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. There's lots of good stuff in this.
I'd
very
like to read
cleverly
a
written
bigger work
too.
of fiction in this world.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I agreed with you just because it seemed like the nice thing to do, but like, nah, I think we got it. I'm going to disagree. I don't think I'd like to read a bigger work of fiction in this world.
Why
That's
not?
it. That's it. That's all the parts. That's all the pieces. I got it. I got what I need out of that. What would a bigger work of fiction in this world do?
Oh, it would be a completely different plot, different characters, but just give me more Grackles, give me more cyborg people. What does the rest of the world look like?
I don't know, but I think all those things are there for this plot.
And also the progress of the young boy and what he does and where he goes and
he's going to be real sad. I don't want to read that.
He is going to be real sad. I don't think Jakey turns around and tries to like liberate the people.
No. Jakey's going to get his own plasma fence and incinerates intruders, and
he's going to feel guilty, but not that guilty forever.
Right.
Yes.
The sweet spot.
That sounds good. Incinerating
and I think
intruders
too many people are
good.
familiar with. That's the problem. Like his feelings, his arc is just a little too familiar to the trade-offs we make in modern society, even without Grackles and cyborg mailmen and underground bunkers.
Yes.
Like you feel guilty, but not guilty enough because, right?
Well, that's your life, isn't it? You can't. There's nothing you can do about that. It's unless you form an underground movement. Hang on. No.
Yes. Collectively, but individually, right?
Yes.
And collectively feels impossible because then everyone has a different idea on what you should do collectively. It screams about it on the internet.
And it doesn't mention any sort of communication with other people, does it? I don't think.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't seem like they talk to the other houses in the suburb.
No.
Just the mailman.
Yeah. So do they ever go out and where do they get their food from? Does that get delivered by the mailman? Maybe. I don't know. Sounds like they probably wouldn't want to go out ever.
No, never.
It's well dangerous.
I wonder if you can. There was also a lot of like protecting kids from the realities of the world they're growing up in. I wonder if you can measure like level of dystopianness based on how much you have to hide from kids when they're young. Because like when you think about a utopia, you don't have to hide much, do you? Kids can kind of be aware of everything that's happening. Or even if you just kind of go back in history to where life was maybe simpler or less complicated, like growing up on a farm somewhere, what are you really hiding necessarily from kids? Maybe just, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not, yeah, you're not hiding, like, that's funny. They don't hide the cyborg mailman. Like,
No.
that seems
No, he's a
problematic.
cartoon hero, right? He's part of their
Right, right. They made him a cartoon
propaganda, so
hero.
he has to be
Yeah.
their friend.
That's right. That's right. He's a good guy.
And he's aware of guns, isn't he? Young Jakey.
Yeah, because
But
cartoon
they
heroes
don't-
have guns.
But
Bang,
they don't
bang,
can't
show
hear
the
them.
flash.
Justice.
They don't show the blood.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's
But
good.
guns are
Yeah.
just justice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they, people just, things get hurt, and that's fine.
Right.
You
Bad.
couldn't even see the thing.
Right. Just
Yes,
the
that's
teeth.
true.
Yeah.
The only as much of a grackle as they're allowed to show.
Mhm. Also, I want to know where these grackles came from. Are they aliens? I don't know.
I don't know.
Or is it like a mutation? What is this?
Well, right. I was like, okay, what is this weird mutant bird? It's like, it's got meaty arms. Like, no, this was a person. It's got arms and
I
fingers.
think
It was
so.
a
But then how do you
person
get there? Why are there
somehow.
so many?
I don't know. Something
Mm.
bad happened.
Doesn't
Yes.
matter, I guess.
No.
It
like
used
that.
to be a person.
Yeah, it does have a
Somehow.
hand. It was very particularly a hand. Fingers, like, okay,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Like 20
Why are they
foot
so
long, skinny
tall?
legs. I don't know.
I mean,
Yes,
they're
it's quite-
bird-like. But I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's quite funny that some stories and some films tell you the mechanics of what's happened to the world, and some just say, "Here's this world, and it's pretty shitty, and let's move on from there." Just go,
Right.
And you should
Let's
all
keep it-
give up on making
keep
it
it rolling.
better.
yeah, just deal
This
with
world sucks. It will always
Yeah.
suck.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no Katniss Everdeen in this story.
Oh, you sure? You see, in a longer work, maybe there could be a female person type thing comes into his world. Maybe
You know,
Katniss
it's
is
funny. I
really
think it's
bad at
true if it's a YA novel. If it's a young adult novel, you could sell me on a young hero saving this world. But if you try to make it like an actual convincing, realistic, like, I don't know, it might be a hard sell.
no. Yeah. I think it's
It's
pretty
done.
too far gone, and I think there's too much infrastructure in surviving within this weird messed up world.
Yeah, no one's happy.
No
No.
one's happy.
And no one thinks they have a way out.
Right.
That's
Okay.
interesting. Yeah.
Anything else?
I like that
Mhm.
just the concept of the window men figuring out how to fool the child protective windows with weird
Yeah.
blotchy paints.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and on my
that's
second
clever.
read through, what I caught was it was yellow paint, and the grackles have yolk-like eyes, egg yolks.
They're imitating grackles.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. Very good.
Do you pronounce the L in yolk?
No.
It sounded like you said yolk.
So I never
that
know when I'm
regional?
supposed to pronounce L's or not, like in salmon. So what I do is I just do it sometimes, and other times I don't, and then
Yeah.
hope.
Some
sometimes
people
I'm right.
say salmon.
I know, but I don't know if they're right or wrong. Like,
Are they Americans?
all
My
right, let's talk
grandmother
about
used
the
to say
story.
salmon. She's Irish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Salmon.
Salmon.
I think there's European countries that insist on pronouncing every single letter in a word, which is
I
quite
think you
weird.
do pronounce the L in yolk
Spanish?
because yolk without an L is a word. Sorry, Gerald. I just got really
No.
upset about yolk. I think you say
Yolk.
the L.
Egg yolk.
Yeah, I've never
Yeah,
pronounced.
I think there's
an
like a
L in-
hint of an L.
A
Like
hint
you flirt with it, but I don't think you pronounce it.
Yeah.
because there's yolk, YOKE, which is a different.
Yes.
Yolk. And obviously, no two words are ever pronounced the same way.
That would be too confusing.
Yes.
But no, I was just curious if it was regional. That's all.
No, there's a
Up
lot of
now.
words that I'm not sure how to
Idiosyncratic.
pronounce, so I do it both ways.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
fine.
Yeah.
GYRO. I tried 3 different ways. See what happens.
GR what? Why?
The food,
The food.
right? Not like a
Gyro,
gyroscope.
Hero. Gyro. I've heard them
Yeah.
all.
Gyro. Oh.
It's gyro, but I say gyro because it's more fun. But I'm saying it wrong, and I know that.
Really? Is that so? So hero is spelled GYRO.
Gyro.
Like the
Are you thinking
food.
of hero,
The
like a
food.
sandwich, like a
Not a
submarine
sandwich.
sandwich?
It's the meat thing.
It's a
Right.
meat thing.
With it's like shaved, typically lamb, not always lamb, shaved lamb with like
Oh, a
onion
kebab.
and
On a stick.
tzatziki sauce. How do you say that sauce?
On a
I
pita
can't.
usually.
It's
Tzatziki
tzatziki.
sauce.
I don't speak Greek well. Not like a kebab.
No, it's not on a stick.
No,
Not on
I
a
think we
stick.
had this conversation
It's on a pita.
before. Yeah,
Yeah, on a pita with
yeah.
like
you go
shaved
to-
lamb.
yeah,
You know, like the triangle of compressed meat,
yes. That goes
right?
round and
That
round.
under the heat lamp.
Yeah,
And you
and you
shave the
shave it
triangle of
off
compressed meat
into a
onto
metal
a
thing,
pita
and then you
with,
get your pita, and
onions.
then pita. I mean,
and cucumber sauce.
there's no e in pita.
Pita.
Pita, that's a bloke's name.
Good point.
Pita.
P-I-T-A.
Pita. Pita.
As predicted, this podcast was going to go off the rail.
Don't get me started on something.
This
else.
whole
Anyway, I say
relation.
gyro. And
Okay.
on the classic television program Third Rock from the Sun, French Stewart had an incredible line that I remember and lives in my heart always, where he said, "Hey guys, I got some gyros," and they said, "You know, it's pronounced gyro." He said, "If people keep correcting me, I'm just going to stop eating them."
Okay. Anything
Shout out
else
to
you want to
French
say about this
Stewart.
story?
French Stewart, if you're listening, I loved you in McHale's Navy.
Okay.
Those words
All right.
mean nothing.
Anything we want to say, or do we want to rate?
No, I'll rate.
Yeah.
I'll rate it a 5. I like this a lot.
I'm also a 5.
I was going to come in lower, actually. I was angry at the abrupt ending. I was like, oh, and then
What?
it stopped.
You can't
But-
bring that up now.
I know. I brought it up
So
now.
you can. I guess.
I did it. I got sidetracked by French Stewart for a while. So I was angry at the abrupt ending at first when I first read it. But like talking about it, I'm like, oh, it's good. So I'm going to give it a 5.
Okay.
Sure.
Brought your rating.
Hurrah!
Great. Okay. Next week, we are reading Extinction by Azarine van der Vliet Olumi. But before you go, tell us what despairing reality you've accepted in your life in our Facebook discussion group, The Literary Roadhouse Readers. Want to read about more dystopias that resemble our lived realities a little too closely? Keep this podcast going by leaving a review of Literary Roadhouse wherever you get your podcasts or supporting us on patreon.com/Literary Roadhouse. Every bit helps. And as always, share this podcast with the mailman cyborg walking on claws down your street. Until next time, read a good story.